Many of us use protective styling techniques to style and take care of our hair. But a lot of times I wonder to myself, should it actually be called protective styling? Because sometimes the protective styling is doing none of the protecting that it should be doing. What's up, my lovelies? Welcome back again to the Style of Success. I am Kelly, and on this channel we're all about beautifying our bodies and minds. And what better way to beautify your body than using protective styling? Now, I went to protective styling because I was looking for more low manipulation styling for my hair. Just like many of us, we go to protective styling because we hear the word protective and we feel, oh, this should be the best thing for our hair. And then what happened to me was that for 10 years, I was doing my hair myself. I was doing a lot of crochet braids, weaves, and my hair was a mess. I knew a lot of tips and tricks that I thought were good for my hair, but there were some crucial things that I needed to do that I was not doing to protect my hair in the protective style. Now, when I talk about protective styling, I'm talking about two-strand twist, I'm talking about cornrows, I'm talking about using braids or weaves or wigs or any type of hair extension at all, including clip-ins. So that's why I thought to do a video to talk about how you can actually use protective styling for natural hair growth. So for many of us who resort to using a lot of protective styling, we're usually people that have afro hair, which is more or less type 4 hair, and also people with type 3 hair. And one of the reasons why we use protective styling is because it is so easy. They're low manipulation styling. I can braid my hair and not worry about styling my hair every single day. Especially for those of us who are just like busy and don't have the time to take care about it our hair first thing in the morning. And for many of us, our hair is quite fragile. So daily combing is not the best thing for our hair, especially when you have natural type 4 hair. Daily combing can be painful, can be difficult, and if you're not careful, it is prone to getting like split ends and breakage. And this is something that we try to avoid on our hair. Also, when we have severe weather conditions, especially during the cold, I always lean to protective styling to protect my hair from the harshness and the dryness of the weather. So it's not shocking that many of us like resort to protective styling because, you know, we're able to change up our look, have different hairstyles and look diverse and different and unique. And it's just a beautiful way of styling your hair. However, there's certain steps that need to be taken when you're doing protective styling, and I'm going to run through this very quickly just to tell you the things that worked for me and the things I think that you can incorporate into your protective styling to help aid natural hair growth. If you're someone that does a lot of protective styling, it's very important to deep condition your hair before and after every time you do protective styling. Now, I love deep conditioning my hair. I love the way it feels. I just feel like I am nourishing my hair and adding some goodness and just replenishing the hair, especially because of all the mechanical stress and everything I've done to my hair within that period. Another thing that is important is to also keep your hair moisturized and oiled underneath that protective style. And I used to be very guilty of it. I would carry braids, crochet braids, and throughout the time that I had the style, I would find out that I wouldn't even oil or moisturize my hair in any shape or form. And it's no wonder by the time I'm taking the protective style off my hair, sometimes my hair is coming off with the style. So it is so important to make sure we're deep conditioning our hair before and after every protective style so that we're strengthening the hair. And also we need to make sure that we're keeping our hair oiled and moisturized when we have protective styling in. Now, the next tip I'd like to point out is that we need to avoid tight hairstyles. And I know some people are going to say, oh, I don't normally use hair extensions. Now, if you pack your hair in a bun or you pull your hair back or you're packing your hair in any shape or form, that is a lot of manipulation to your hair. And when you do tight styles, for example, if you're doing things like Ghana braids or even cornrows, you're pulling back your hair and a lot of times you're causing a lot of damage to your edges. I used to love Ghana braids, but Ghana braids did not love my hair. And I would realize that every time I do these braids, my hairline will recede far back because my edges were very, very tender and soft, and it will be pulled so much so that it will look so neat and sleek. we need to avoid tight hairstyles so that we do not damage our edges. Our edges are the most fragile parts of our hair and we need to protect them at all costs. Another crucial thing to note is this: if you are someone that uses hair extensions in any shape or form, do not leave the hair extensions in your hair for too long. Now, I am talking from experience, and I know how hard it is sometimes, especially when you sat down for 7 hours, 8 hours doing your hair. You're not ready to take that hair out after a month or 6 weeks. But what I realized for my hair type, and this may be different, if you have stronger hair, your hair may be able to withstand having these extensions in the hair for longer. But if you have fragile hair or soft hair or hair that easily has split ends or damage or breakage, avoid carrying your hairstyles too long. What I always recommend to people is to carry hair extensions for nothing more than 4 to 6 weeks. I noticed on my hair type, and I have high porosity hair, I have type 4 hair, and I have, what else? Medium strands. I noticed for my hair type, if I carry any hairstyle longer than 6 weeks, before you know it, my edges begin to go. I begin to have a lot of dirt and lint and stuff that just stay in my hair and form knots in the hair. And before you know it, all my edges are gone. Now let's talk about specific protective styling. When it comes to like 2-strand twists that you're doing on your hair without hair extensions, you have a bit more leeway in terms of how you do the protective styling and how you can actually manage your hair and help your hair grow really long. I know back in West Africa, we have things like our cornrows, we call them calabar, which is more or less 2-strand twist. We had thread. We also had something that was called 2-hand, which was more or less reverse cornrow or like matting. I think that was the name of the style. Now, these hairstyles were actually great because they help your hair to grow. And I used to experience a lot of growth, especially when I did the reverse cornrow and I did threading, because your hair is well protected. You're not adding additional hair to your head, so you're able to keep the style for longer and your hair is able to breathe in that low manipulation style without any breakage. Now let's talk about other protective style where we're adding additional extensions. The first one I want to talk about is box braids. For box braids, whether it's box braids or twists, anytime you're adding the extensions, you have to be careful the quantity of the extension you're adding to your hair strands. Because if you add too much hair extensions to your strands, it would be pulling on your strands and loosening the strands and actually making the strands a lot weaker. If you want to do smaller styles, you have to make sure the extensions that are used are smaller. And if you want to do the bigger box braids, make sure you're sectioning a larger part of your hair so that it's able to grip the extension and hold it in for the duration of the style. I usually do not suggest you carry box braids or twists longer than 4 to 6 weeks, regardless of how strong your hair is. I've just noticed that a lot of lint comes in at the edges or the braids, especially in the front edges. And sometimes when you are then loosening the hair, it tends to pull on your hair strands and break off your edges. Now, when it comes to crochet braids, I was a crochet braid expert. And for 10 years of my life, I was doing crochet braids back to back. Every single time I would do a style, take it off, put another one back in. I loved crochet braids. I loved the way they look. I loved how my hair felt in crochet braids. And it was so easy to do. It was quicker. It wasn't like box braids where I had to sit for a long time. I could just do my crochet braids within 2 to 3 hours and I was done and I'd have a beautiful style. With crochet braids, you're normally doing more or less like a cornrow or matting your hair or packing your hair in different sections and then adding in the crochet braids. I realized that I had the leverage to make the hair as big and as full as I wanted. And so that meant that I was able to add more hair extensions to make my hair as big as possible because I always love like very massive and big hair. The downside of things was that it really did a lot of damage to my hair, because I was doing these styles back to back without allowing my hair breathe. If you're someone that loves crochet braids, here's what I found out worked for me after a lot of trial and error. I started using like a mesh net, and I will put some links in the description box that you can go check out. They were stretchy, they were breathable, they were quite large. So what I would do is that when I do my cornrows or whatever thing I do underneath my hair, I will push that mesh net onto my hair before I begin to attach the crochet braids. I found out that that was very, very helpful in helping my edges not break off. Now, there are two types of mesh nets I've seen. Some of them are like strong, they're not stretchy, and you need to kind of place it on the hair and sew it into the hair. But the one I found that was really good for my hair were the stretchy ones. They have wider nets and they're very small, so they're able to just stay firmly and flush onto your scalp after you've done your cornrows, and then you're able to then put in your crochet braids onto the hair. So if you haven't tried using mesh nets when you're doing crochet braids, do check the links in the description box and see if it's something that would help your hair, especially when you have things like crochet braids. Now let's talk about weaves. What I realized is that even before I started doing crochet braids, experienced stylists, when they're doing weaves, they always used to put like a mesh net on the hair to protect the hair and the edges. Anytime you're doing weaves, it's so important to make sure that your cornrows are not too tight, and you also use these mesh nets to protect your hair underneath so that your hair is well protected. Your hair is also able to get some air and moisture so that it can breathe and it can thrive. Now let's talk about wigs. For a long time, I never really liked using wigs because I noticed that anytime I had wigs on, I would lose my edges. But if you're someone that uses wigs, some of us use wig glue. I had to specify wig glue before someone uses Gorilla Glue. Yes, but some of us use wig glue to tack the wig down, just to make sure that the wig doesn't go flying out, when we're out and about. What I have found to be very good to protect your hair is to always make sure you're using a wig cap. If you're able to find a wig cap that is more satiny or silky, all the better. If I tried to use satiny wig caps, I noticed that it kept sliding off my hair. However, something else that I found was really, really helpful and useful with wigs was a wig grip. Now, this is an example of a wig grip, and I will put it in the description box so that if you want something like this, you can go find it. Wig grips are so great, not just in helping your wig stay intact, but for me, I find out that wig grips actually help protect the edges. There are different types of wig grips. You see some satin wig grips that have satin underlining in them. Even the wig grips that are velvety, they're not as drying as using pure cotton products. Now, right now, I have a wig on my hair, and I always make sure that I have a satiny wig cap underneath, and I hold it on with the wig grip. So if you're looking for something to protect your hair under wigs, I would suggest this wig grip as opposed to using the glues or any other thing to tack it down. Also, some people find hairpins. They're able to put hairpins through their hair just to protect the wig from flying off. So don't think that the only option you have is to use glue. And I've noticed in recent times that a lot of the wigs that are coming out now use more stretchy material so that you don't really need to use glue to tack your wig down. Another option that you can go for that I personally love is the use of head wraps and scarves. I love using head wraps on the days where my hair is not looking that great, but I want something on the hair to protect the hair. Most of the time, I always go for like satin scarves, or if I'm using a head wrap, for example, if I'm using like an African product like an Ankara head wrap, then I always make sure I have a satin scarf or bonnet underneath to protect the hair before I have the head wrap. So if you're using the head wrap or the scarves, they're actually a beautiful way to add some style to your outfits, but make sure that you're protecting the hair underneath. Make sure you're taking care of your hair underneath so that your hair can grow and thrive. And also, it's important to say this: try to allow your hair breathe. As I said earlier, I always used to do styles back to back. I never allowed my hair breathe. I would do a style, wash it, dry it. Sometimes I'll deep condition, sometimes I won't, and I'll be off to the next style. And what I realized is for a long time, I think my edges were very far back because my hair was going through too much styling. And you don't want to have traction alopecia. You don't want to cause too much mechanical stress to your hair. So allow your hair breathe. Another thing is that if your hair is damaged, that is not the best time to have protective styles like braids or crochet braids in. If your hair is damaged, it's normally better to go for protective styles that do not have any hair extensions, or you can decide to use wigs while you allow your hair to just replenish and grow underneath. For me, the best protective styles are locks. Underneath my hair, I have micro locks. I locked my hair back in 2019, and I will be showing my hair on this channel sometime soon. My hair has been growing and thriving, and I never realized how thick my hair actually was until I had the locks in my hair. I am actually loving locks. Some people call it dreadlocks, but there's nothing dreadful about locks. But if you're thinking of a low manipulation style, for me, locks are the way to go. If you put these tips to use, you will find out that your hair is going to be healthy, it's going to grow, you're not going to get any bald spots, you're not going to have any traction alopecia. You will actually find your hair thriving underneath protective styling. So do you like protective styles? Let me know in the comments down below what protective styles you do the most and how you actually take care of your hair underneath, because there's so much that we can learn when it comes to protective styling. I hope you learned something new or you gained some value from this video. So if you did, smash that like button and also share it with your friends, especially those who love to do protective styling on their hair and they're complaining about how they are losing their edges or complaining about how badly their hair is doing. I have some more videos that talk about natural hair on this channel, and I'll link it down below. You can go watch them after this video. But until next time, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next videos.